Real English Lounge.
The art of everyday English.
Someone asked me this morning how my weekend was, and I said, fine, thanks. And then they walked away, and I thought, I speak English every single day, and I still gave the worst possible answer.
Fine, thanks. The answer that ends every conversation before it begins.
It is not even an answer. It is a way of saying, please do not ask me anything else.
And the strange thing is, the weekend was actually good. I went for a long walk on Saturday. I cooked something new on Sunday. There were things to say. And I said, fine, thanks.
Because nobody ever teaches you how to actually talk about your days off, in English or in any language.
Which is exactly what we are going to do today. Welcome to Real English Lounge. I'm Claire.
I am Ethan, and today we're talking about one of the most common conversations in the English-speaking world. How was your weekend? And how to actually answer it like a real person.
Before we start, our usual challenge. If this podcast is useful for your English, please subscribe on YouTube and leave a comment below.
Today's comment challenge, tell us what you actually did last weekend. One sentence, in English, in the comments. We read every single one.
And if yours makes us want to hear more, we will reply.
Level check. This episode is B1 to B2. The vocabulary is practical and natural. The kind of English you actually need for real conversations at work, with friends, or anywhere someone asks what you did over the weekend.
Later in the episode, we have the word tour. Today's words are unwind, spontaneous, catch up, recharge, exhausting, and highlight. All of them are words real English speakers use when talking about their time off.
Let's start. Claire, how was your weekend?
You were going to make me go first.
I am gonna make you go first.
All right, it was actually a good one. Saturday, I went for a long walk. I live close to a park, so I try to do that when the weather's decent. I brought headphones, but I ended up not using them. I just walked and thought about nothing in particular.
That sounds like the kind of Saturday people plan and then cancel.
It almost was. I nearly talked myself into staying home, but I went, and it was one of those things where you feel noticeably better just from having done it.
And Sunday?
Sunday, I cooked. I've been wanting to try a new recipe for a while. Something with a lot of ingredients. The kind of thing that takes 2 hours and dirties every pan in the kitchen. Very satisfying. Terrible to clean up.
Worth it? Worth it?
Completely worth it.
My weekend was different, much less planned.
Tell me.
Friday night, I was completely exhausted. I had been in back-to-back meetings for most of the week, and by Friday evening, my brain had simply stopped working. So I did almost nothing. I watched something on TV that I cannot even remember now. I was in bed by 10.
That counts as a valid Friday.
I think it does. Saturday morning, I felt like a different person, which tells you something about how much I needed it. And Saturday ended up being spontaneous in a way I did not plan.
What happened?
A friend sent a message in the morning saying they were going to a market nearby and did I want to come? And I almost said no. I had that moment of, I should probably use this time to be productive. And then I thought, that is the worst reason to say no to something. So I went.
And?
It was the best part of my weekend. We walked around for 2 hours, had coffee, talked about things we had not talked about in months. None of it was planned and none of it was productive. And it was exactly what I needed.
That is one of the things that makes weekends interesting to talk about. The best parts are often the unplanned ones.
And yet we spend so much energy trying to plan them perfectly.
Let's talk about the language side of this. Because how was your weekend is not just small talk. It is a real social connector. It is how people build relationships at work, with neighbors, with friends they haven't seen in a few days.
And fine. Thanks closes that door immediately.
It does. And people do not say fine thanks because they are rude or unfriendly. They say it because they do not know what else to say. The question arrives, and there's a kind of blankness. Where do I start? What is worth mentioning? Will this be interesting to them?
And in the moment of blankness, fine, thanks, comes out automatically.
So the solution is not a personality change. It is having a small structure in your head for how to answer. And the structure is very simple.
What is it?
One general impression. Was it good, relaxing, busy, quiet? Then one specific thing you actually did. Then something small about how it felt or what you noticed. That is it. 3 elements.
So instead of fine, thanks, you say, it was a good one. I went for a long walk on Saturday and I had forgotten how much I needed that. And then the other person has something to respond to.
Exactly. You have given them a thread. And
and conversation is just spreads. You pull one, they pull one, and something real happens.
And the beautiful thing is that it does not have to be an exciting weekend. You do not need to have gone somewhere or done something impressive.
Not at all. Some of the best answers to how was your weekend are about very quiet things. I spent most of Sunday reading, and it was the most relaxed I have felt in weeks. That is interesting. That gives the other person something.
Because it is honest and specific.
Honesty and specificity are the two things that make any answer worth hearing. Not adventure, not productivity.
And then there is the other side of it, asking the question back, because a lot of people answer and then just go quiet.
And the other person is left waiting.
Which is uncomfortable for everyone. So how do you ask it back in a way that feels natural and not like you are just returning a tennis ball?
The simplest version is just, and you? How is yours? That is enough. But if you want to go a level deeper, you can reference something specific. You mentioned last week you had a big thing on Friday. How did that go?
Because then you're showing you actually listened before, which is a very different feeling from just asking the question back.
It changes the whole tone. The other person feels seen rather than just responded to.
And what about when the weekend genuinely was not good? When something went wrong, or you were sick, or it was just flat and forgettable?
You can be honest. You do not have to perform a good weekend. It was a tough one, honestly. I was not feeling well most of Saturday. And then people usually say, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that," and the conversation shifts. You do not have to invent highlights you did not have.
Because people can tell when you are performing enthusiasm you do not feel.
They always can. Genuine and quiet beats performed and energetic every time.
Let's talk about some phrases people actually use in these conversations. Because how was your weekend sounds simple, but there are so many natural ways to answer that learners rarely hear.
Right. So beyond fine, thanks. What do real speakers say?
It was a quiet one, which means nothing big happened, but that's okay.
It was exactly what I needed, which means it was probably restful or simple, but the right kind of restful or simple.
I managed to catch up with a few people, which means you spent time with friends or family, possibly people you had not seen in a while.
We ended up going to, which signals something spontaneous, something that was not the original plan.
I mostly just recharged, which is a very common and honest way of saying you stayed home and did not do very much, but with no apology attached.
And that last one is important. There is sometimes a pressure to have done something with a weekend, to have been productive or active or social. And the phrase, "I'm mostly just recharged," gives you permission to have rested without justifying it.
Because rest is not nothing. Rest is something.
It is something your body and brain need. And describing it as recharging rather than doing nothing changes how it lands for you and for the person you're talking to. Time for the word tour. 6 words from today's conversation. All of them useful for talking about your time off in natural English.
Definition, example, mini dialogue, and an upgrade phrase for each one. Let's go.
Word 1. Unwind. UNWIND. Verb.
To unwind means to relax and release tension after a period of stress or hard work. It suggests a gradual process. The tension does not disappear immediately. It loosens slowly.
Example. After 3 weeks of deadlines, she finally had a weekend to properly unwind.
Mini dialogue. How do you usually unwind after a long week?
Honestly, it depends on the week. Sometimes I need people and noise. Sometimes I need to be completely alone and quiet. This week was a quiet week.
What does that look like?
A book, a long bath, no plans after 7 in the evening.
Upgrade phrase. Instead of saying I relaxed, try I finally had a chance to properly unwind. I did not realize how much I needed it until I stopped moving for a few hours.
Word 2. Spontaneous. SPONTANEOUS. Adjective.
Something spontaneous happens without planning or preparation. It is unscheduled, unintended, and often more enjoyable because of that.
Example. The best part of the trip was a completely spontaneous detour through a town we had never heard of.
Mini dialogue. Did you do anything interesting this weekend?
Nothing planned, but we ended up being quite spontaneous. A friend called and we just went. No schedule, no agenda.
Those are usually the best kind.
They always are, aren't they?
Upgrade phrase. Instead of saying we just decided to go, try it was completely spontaneous. We had nothing planned and then suddenly we were there, and it turned out to be the highlight of the weekend.
Word 3. Catch up. CATCHUP. Phrasal verb.
To catch up with someone means to spend time with them after a period of not seeing them. Talking, sharing news, reconnecting. It implies some time has passed since your last real conversation.
Example. We had not seen each other in months, so we spent the whole afternoon just catching up.
Mini dialogue. What did you get up to on Saturday? Try.
I went to see an old friend. We sat in a cafe for about 3 hours just catching up. I had forgotten how much I missed having that kind of unhurried conversation.
The kind where nobody is watching the time.
Exactly that. Nobody looked at their phone once.
Upgrade phrase. Instead of saying, I saw a friend, try, I managed to catch up with someone I had not seen properly in a long time. One of those conversations that reminds you why certain friendships matter.
Word 4. Recharge. R-E-C-H-A-R-G-E. Verb.
To recharge means to restore your energy, physically or mentally, after it has been depleted. The image is of a battery. You run low, you stop, and refill.
Example. He spent the entire Sunday doing absolutely nothing, and by Monday morning, he felt completely recharged.
Mini dialogue. You look better than you did on Friday.
I feel it. I just needed to recharge. I canceled everything I had planned and spent 2 days being completely quiet.
That takes discipline, actually. Saying no to things in order to rest.
More discipline than I expected.
Upgrade phrase. Instead of saying, I did not do much, try, I mostly just recharged this weekend. I needed it more than I realized, and I feel genuinely better for it.
Word 5. Exhausting.
E-X-H-A-U-S-T-I-N-G. Adjective.
Something exhausting makes you feel completely drained of energy, of patience, of mental capacity. It is stronger than tiring. When something is tiring, you need rest. When something is exhausting, you need recovery.
Example. The week had been so exhausting that by Friday, she could not hold a full thought in her head.
Mini dialogue. How was the conference?
Genuinely exhausting. 3 days of being switched on and social from morning to evening. I love it, but by the last day, I had nothing left.
Did you recover over the weekend?
Mostly, I think I need one more quiet evening.
Upgrade phrase. Instead of saying, it was very tiring, try, it was genuinely exhausting in a way that surprised me. I thought I was prepared for it, but by the end, I was running on nothing.
Last word. Word 6. Highlight. H-I-G-H-L-I-G-H-T. Noun.
A highlight of something is the best or most memorable part of it, the moment or experience that stands out above everything else.
Example. The highlight of the weekend was finding a small bookshop we had never noticed before, completely hidden down a side street.
Mini dialogue. So what was the highlight of your weekend?
Honestly, Sunday morning. I made coffee, sat by the window, and read for 2 hours without looking at my phone once. It sounds small. It was not small.
That sounds like exactly the right answer.
It is the truest one I have.
Upgrade phrase. Instead of saying the best part was, try, the highlight for me was a moment that was completely unplanned. Those are usually the ones that stay with you.
That is the word tour for today.
Unwind, spontaneous, catch up, recharge, exhausting, highlight.
6 words that'll make your next answer to how was your weekend sound like a real conversation instead of a closed door.
Let's close. We talked about why how was your weekend is one of the most important conversations in everyday English, and why fine, thanks is the answer that ends it before it starts.
We looked at the simple structure for a better answer. One general impression, one specific thing you did, and something small about how it felt. That is enough to open a real conversation.
And we talked about some phrases real English speakers actually use. It was a quiet one. I mostly just recharged. We ended up going to the natural language of describing time off.
The question of the week. What did you actually do last weekend? Tell us in the comments. In English, one sentence. We want to hear the real answer.
And if this episode helped your English today, if you followed along, learned something new, or just spent 12 minutes thinking and listening in English, that is progress worth keeping.
Please subscribe on YouTube, give this episode a like, and share it with someone whose answer to how was your weekend is always fine. Thanks.
We will see you in the next episode. I'm Claire.
I am Ethan. Next time someone asks how your weekend was, give them a thread to pull. You might be surprised where the conversation goes.
Real English Lounge. See you next time.
Your English journey doesn't end here.
Keep listening, keep learning, and keep speaking.
Choose your next conversation.
We'll see you in the next episode of Real English Lounge.